gamers. Now, I apologize for not being here yesterday. Man had to take a day off. I can't be showing up here every single goddamn day and burning myself out. I woke up at midnight in a cold sweat, and I was like, whoa, I now have an entry point for starting this IK thing. So I wrote it down on my notebook, and it says, figure out how to snap and burn to mouse position. It's an easy enough problem, something I can definitely tackle. So I'm gonna go to these guys, and to do, snap and burn to mouse position. And that will of course be the end target of the entire IK solution. So that's what we're gonna be doing. I need your help. Turns out you can't post links on Instagram until you hit like 10K followers or something. I need to stop saying the word like. I need someone to just be sitting in the background, just a buzzer, pressing it over and over again whenever I use the word like. As I was saying, chuck us a follow on Instagram to help a homie out. I would like to post links on there, but you can't just do that until you hit 10K. So really appreciate if you could slap me a follow. So this right here is obviously our little test bench for getting the entire 3D animations up and running properly. First things first, what I'm gonna do is go to and comment this out just so we get a normal rotation like that. And then from here, I'm thinking I could use this right here and try and get the mouse X and mouse Y and snap that to the end. That could certainly work. Can I just say, it has actually been so much fun just having people in the Discord combing over all the code and just playing around with things. There's a few of you guys in there at the moment, right? It just feels really cozy to have people kind of in the same code base kind of working together. At the moment, we're not really working towards anything because I physically just don't have an idea of what there is to work on, right? But I've been giving the digital garden a little bit of a touch up. I added in an index yesterday, and these are just the top priorities at the moment. Obviously, number one, creating a beautiful 2D realistic pixel art survival game. And right now, like I said, I don't really have any ideas for how people can help contribute at the moment. As soon as I kind of finish this entire animation system, I should have more of an idea of the direction that we're going to take things. So if you'd like to become a contributor, I'll have a Google something form thing that like little survey that you can fill out if you want to go check that out in the description. Answer all the questions. I don't need to tell you the questions here, but for those of you who do want to contribute and help out, I basically just want to get a grasp of what you really enjoy doing the most, what you're confident with, what you've done before, your past experience, just all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, there'll be a link to that down in the description if you want to check that out. So this is what I'm going to work with. I'm going to get this bone right here and snap it to the mouse position. This joint, sorry. I keep saying the word bone, but we're getting that out of our vocabulary now because they're not bones, they're joints. Proceeds to call this bone index still. I take kindly to your kind around here. What I'm going to do is work backwards from the solution we had up before for the debugging, right? So over here, we're calculating the center. We're doing all kinds of cool stuff down here. But I'm just basically going to do that in reverse in order to take the screen position and convert it into the model space or whatever you want to call it. So that's going to be interesting. So I'm going to go V2 centered pause. Do something like V2 subtract V2. I'm just going to hard code this. All right. And then V2 size 1024 platform mouse X. Platform mouse Y. That should give us our mouse position in relation to the center point of the model, I think. I guess we can test it out by going down here. So right here, that's 0. And then if we move up, then, cool. The next question is we'll get this bad boy down here. That may not look like it's working, but that's exactly what I wanted it to do. Just keep that in mind. You see this point right here? I'm trying to offset that to the mouse position. So mouse position up here is 0, 0. If we move across, then that point should move out exactly with the mouse, right? Like that. But I don't know how to get this mouse position, which goes from 0 all the way to whatever the resolution is, fucking 1440. I could put this down to 0 to 1, but that still isn't helpful at all. I don't know how to get this into this space here. So that's my current conundrum, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. And I'll let you know when I figure it out, I guess. What is Randy's digital garden? Randy's digital garden is my digital garden. Now, it's basically a way of me communicating to all of you lovely people what's going on at the moment, what the top priorities are. Pause the video right now and have a look at this readme if you want, and that'll basically explain the entire thing. So if you're interested in that, then you can head on over to twitch.tv/Randy, drop a Prime Gaming subscription, link your account over at randy.gg/prime, and get a free membership, get access to this repository, and all that good, wonderful knowledge. Also, if you'd like to become a member, then randy.gg/fund as well. Really appreciate all the support, boys. We are absolutely flying through the fund goals at the moment. I'll have an updated fund goal very shortly, because right now it's still that old trying to aim for the Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van, which, you know, I have new thoughts on it basically, but I'll let you guys know when that's out, maybe in a couple days or so stay tuned for that. Will the game actually be once you finish the engine? I don't think I've talked about enough, so to answer that question, where do I begin? So it's a story-driven 2D pixel art survival game, right? I've been inspired a lot by games like The Forest. I love their base building mechanics. Not like their base building mechanics, but like just their building mechanics in general, like their collection gather craft loop. There'll definitely be that in there. It's gonna have a really heavy focus on combat, like really slick combat, just like chaining together shit. Depth over breadth, right? So for example, say like the Skyrim magic system, right? There's hundreds of spells, but they're all very shallow, and Skyrim just feels like a very shallow game, right? An ocean wide, but a puddle deep. So I'm gonna go the exact opposite, and I'm gonna go a puddle wide, but an ocean deep. So all the mechanics in the game, you know, say there'll be like a handful of weapons to choose from, but each of those weapons are gonna just play in so nicely and have such a large amount of depth to them. That's where the variety comes from at the end of the day. And then, you know, of course, we will have a magic system. Game's called Arcane. Yeah, it's just gonna focus on the 4 elements: earth, fire, water, air, right? That's basically going to be it. Just a bunch of spells surrounding those 4 elements, playing in nicely with each other. And then the entire backbone of the game, it's going to be a story-driven game, right? And you are essentially going to be defeating the 7 deadly sins. So you'll work your way through each of the 7 sins. Once you finish the last one, you complete the game, go on with your life. Type thing, you know. That's pretty much the game in a nutshell. I haven't really played Hollow Knight, but I know that they do have a good story and good map structure and everything. But yeah, I really need to play Hollow Knight, because their entire map structure is pretty much exactly how I'm gonna do it, almost. But it is very much gonna be a fixed map. And then at the boundaries, I think I'm gonna actually do procedural infinite generation. I don't know, but I really need to play Hollow Knight just to get a feel for the environment, because it is really quite nice from what I've seen from the breakdown videos I've seen so far. But yeah, if I had to just list off a bunch of games to kind of explain the overall vibe, Terraria, that was like the initial inspiration for the entire 2D thing. I actually set out to make pretty much a Terraria clone to begin with, but over the years it's picked up more. I was really inspired by The Witcher story and just like the entire kind of story element behind that. It's not really gonna feel like The Witcher at all, but that's just what inspired me for the story, I guess. Just that kind of like fantasy vibe. Combat, I haven't actually played many fighting games at all, so I don't actually have an inspiration for combat. You just picture like a really fluid, really responsive system that also feels really nice and realistic. Gonna be quite hard to pull off. That's why I'm doing this whole 3D animation system, right? Is so we can have good combat and easily iterate on animations and all that kind of stuff, and not have to keep redrawing a bunch of sprites over and over again. Everything's gonna flow in seamlessly to each other because it's all 3D animation. We can blend everything nicely. So that's actually the whole reason I'm doing this entire 3D animation system, solely because of combat. I guess everyday character controller stuff in general. Yeah, the whole blueprint system from The Forest, I love that gather craft loop. The art style, very much from Kingdom. Absolutely love the art style in that game. So I've kind of yoinked that kind of realistic art style and tried to make it my own. It will kind of be Souls-like combat, but more stylistic and fast-paced. Yeah, so it's not going to be hardcore. It's going to be very intuitive and accessible and friendly, but it will have a large amount of depth. There'll be no human NPCs at all, no. In terms of speech, I don't know how I'm going to do that, because obviously, you know, that's quite central to storytelling, is communicating speech somehow. So I think voice lines are definitely out of the question, because that just be way too much effort, and it wouldn't really make sense because there's not really going to be any NPCs. There will be monsters. I've got a rough idea of how speech will work. They'll just be like kind of grumbling from monsters, and then you'll just magically interpret that into text, and it'll be really seamless. So I think that's how dialogue's gonna work. Time will tell though. I really can't be talking about it yet, because we've got more important things to do. Like moving back onto this IK. Alright, so yeah, I've got this projection right here. I've also got this view that I technically could use, but I'm not going to use the view. I'm just going to use the projection. I'm just going to copy this over just so I can use it. Okay. Idea. I could get it into 0 to 1 and then project. We'll put it into the projection. I don't know. It's definitely doable. I think I've got an idea of how to do it. Platform, mouse X. Now, I want this to be the exact same without me having to actually do any of this. Well, first of all, if I negate this, so we'll go M4 test is equal to M4 multiply M4, V4 multiply M4, yeah. Okay, that kind of works. The X looks very tame now. The X feels like it's in the right space. The Y, however, is still being a little bit fucky-wucky. How to convert screen space to world space. I just want to know this. I mean, I don't technically need to know that. Actually, yeah, I do. Would the answer to that help? That certainly would. Yep, so, all right, well, there's the answer. It's in that Stack Overflow question. Now, I don't know why I didn't think of Googling this. For some reason, I keep thinking that this is a problem unique to me, because I'm just not in the mindset of Googling at the moment, because I tried Googling stuff for the skinning matrix. I never really found anything, so I'm like, oh, this is, fuck, gotta figure this out on my own. But people have done this exact thing before. It's really a common issue trying to take a screen space coordinate and put it into the 3D world space. So I'm gonna take a look at that answer. What we're gonna be doing is once and for all, figuring out how to take a screen position, a mouse coordinate, and convert it into world space. That's the goal. I'll leave this link in the description. It's pretty straightforward, exactly how it says. Basically, if you're really interested in contributing to Arcana and would like to get in on the development team, then you can go ahead and fill that bad boy out. You've got to have experience in C though. If you don't have experience in C, it's like you can look at the code to try and learn, but I would prefer you to actually know what you're doing so we can actually get some work done properly. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of fresh new kids on the block when it comes to programming languages. We got Jai coming up from the man, the myth, the legend, Jay Blow himself. And we got old mate working on Zig. There's a race to replace C, basically, and write a better language. Not to be too much of a Debbie Downer, right? But I don't think these guys are in the right race. Systems, that's all I can say. I think we still are in need of a better compiler. So Jai or Zig? Because the Jai compiler is like lightning fucking quick, dude. C itself is like a really old programming language. What I need to do apparently, need the inverse of the camera to screen matrix. The 3D pipeline overall looks like this. Model, view, model, world, camera, viewport, screen. The world to camera matrix is the usual rotation / translation matrix you construct for a 3D camera system. Inverting it is trivial. Okay. You can now multiply the vector screen X, screen Y, near 1 to get the world position of the mouse cursor on the near clipping plane in world space. Holy shit, what a fucking answer. I'm just a slut for a nice succinct answer like that, you know what I mean, boys? So that is amazing. That's just a matter of interpreting what the fuck you just said. Some words make sense, others not so much. There's the formula. Woohoo, baby. Goddamn. We algebraing up in this bitch. Algebra. Imagine actually writing algebra out on paper and doing it properly. No. We trial and error until it's right in our minds. How's that function looking, boys? Yay or nay? Can I get some yays in the chat or what? I'm thinking that's a yay. I'm sure no one actually knows whether it's a yay or a nay. But, setting X twice, my man? Alright. It was almost a yay. That right there is step 1. Step 1 complete. So we've calculated the screen to viewport. Now, what we do is we go viewport to camera, which is just times it by the inverse of the projection. So we should be able to just do this bad boy. I'm not even gonna debug it as I go. I'm just gonna fill out the entire fucking function. Sam that alpha. I think you know what time it is. It's time to test whether all that shit that I just wrote works. I'm getting the screen position, offsetting it down into the view position. Taking that view, turning it into the camera. Taking that camera and turning it into the world space. I'm then taking that world space, transforming a matrix with that world space, and then taking that matrix and doing just the exact reverse to get that back into screen space, and then drawing a line from the center of the model to that screen space position. If all goes well, all should go well. Without further ado, let's hit the run button. Not quite, but definitely on the right track here. Definitely on the right track. The X isn't working. Yeah, things are a little fucked up, but I'll figure it out. Right here. You see this number, -3. That's right there. It goes from -3, I would assume, to -9. Correct. Now that ain't right. It should be going from -3 to +3. So that's our first issue. Second issue is this X coordinate is not moving whatsoever. It's -490, which I think is actually the far plane. So we're just doing some things wrong. That's okay though, because it's all part of the learning process. Getting things wrong. So we go from -1 to 1, -1 to 1. So that's all good. Then when we do the projection, oh, I think the view is what's actually doing that. Yeah. Okay, word. All right, so then when we're doing the view, it flips it into the camera's perspective, which from the camera's perspective ain't very cash money at the moment. So now the next step is, instead of making this 0, right around here in the center of the screen, I'm gonna make it here, right here. How am I gonna do that? Good question, great question, excellent question. I don't know. Yeah, absolutely no clue. All right, so the mouse position should now be centered around this one. 0, yay! And then it'll move in all other manners of direction. Anyway, I will come back to that. I did manage to semi-understand this all. Not quite entirely though, but that's okay. That is okay. We'll tackle it next time. Hopefully, figure this out soon. I really need to take a shit. That's the only reason I'm ending stream.